It's Saturday, 9:30 a.m. and that means 12 more watches have landed over at the website kibblewatches.co.uk. So for those of you that are new here, my name is James. I run Kibble Watches here in Clerkenwell, London, and every single Saturday, 9:30 a.m. we put new watches on the website. And this week we have another fantastic range from TwoTone Rolexes to the new First Omega in space, an awesome El Primero, Tudors, Fizz. We've got some micro brands, we've got some vintage as well. So as always, the variety is key, and it's what we achieve every single week, and it's thanks to you guys and girls consigning, selling, part exchanging, whatever it is you do, or obviously buying the watches helps me have more money to buy more watches. So thank you all very, very much. Now, if you're watching this actually on the day, on Saturday the 12th, Friday the 11th, yesterday, was our 10-year anniversary of Kibble Watches, or the event we did for the 10 years, which is pretty insane. This has been going on for 10 years, and as I sort of will have said on the day, it's 10 years of Kibble Watches as an idea, as a working thing. Full-time, it's been probably 7 or 8 years, but yeah, 10 years of Kibble Watches, trading in watches, and it started off with vintage Oris and Seiko for like 20, 30 pounds, and here we are today. So it's a hell of an achievement, one I'm incredibly proud of, but none of it would have been possible without all of you guys and girls watching, buying, whatever it is, even just a like on the photos on Instagram. Everything helps progress this business into what it is today, and I'm excited for the next 10 years. We'll see where it leads. I never could have predicted where we are today in 10 years. Now, if you did attend the event, obviously I'm recording this in advance, so we haven't had the event yet. I hope you enjoyed it. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm very excited. Leah, my wife, who is also the partner in the business, has been amazing getting all that organised. So, you know, huge credit to her. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her, so thank you very much. And all the people attending as well. I'm very excited. I think we're going to have 75, 80 plus people, which is insane. I thought we'd struggle to get 40 or 50, to be honest with you, but yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to try and do some videos and photos and things like that to compile something together as a bit of a celebratory thing. Maybe I'll share some of that next week in next week's video. But yeah, I'm excited. It's sort of a pinching moment. You know, I can't quite believe it, and we'll see on the day how it feels. But anyway, what's on wrist? I'm wearing a watch I don't wear enough, so I thought I'd get it out. It's my Studio Underdog. This is the pizza watch, the ham and pineapple. I am absolutely starving today, so this watch really isn't helping. But a really cool watch, and as I say, one I don't wear often, but I'm lucky enough to own this and a couple of other Studio Underdogs, and it's just a lot of fun. Went to a food festival not long after getting this watch, and obviously I wore it whilst eating a ham and pineapple pizza. That's probably the coolest thing I've done with a watch yet. So there we go. Anyway, let's crack on with what you're here to see, and that's the watches on the table. We're going to start with the TwoTone Rolex Explorer. A watch, when it was first announced, I wasn't particularly keen on. I still prefer the steel, but I have to say this is absolutely brilliant on wrist. Once you get past the idea of an Explorer that is two-tone, which seems a bit contradictory, but who cares? You know, at the end of the day, do we exactly go exploring with this watch? Probably not. It's a hell of a cool watch. So let's take a closer look at this one. And for a moment then, I forgot we're doing it the other way, where I talk here and overlay all the photos and videos over this part, so my apologies. But here it is. This is the Rolex Explorer 1 two-tone, 36mm. So you have stainless steel and 18 karat yellow gold. On the head of the watch, the bezel and the crown are 18 karat gold, as well as the numerals and the surrounds on the dial itself and the hands, which contrast beautifully against that deep black dial, as you'd expect. And then you come on to the two-tone oyster bracelet. You can see it looks brilliant. This is actually back from a light polish with our polishers, so it looks even better. You've got brushed steel along the outside and polished gold along the inside, as well as that folding clasp, which has a very easy to use adjustment of 5mm when you pull out the back end of it. Very, very convenient indeed. A screw down closed case back, again as you'd expect from Rolex, and this is a reference 124273, and inside here is an automatic Rolex caliber 3230. This particular example is from July 2021 with its box and paperwork and full bracelet, ready to be picked up for, in my opinion, a very good price. A smidge over $7.5 grand gets you into a two-tone Explorer. In today's market, I think they're very good value, especially when you consider you're getting a two-tone Rolex for that price. So there we go. Let's show on my 7-inch wrist here. It wears exactly the same as you'd expect from the 36mm, but it feels a bit brighter, and that will be because of the gold. So 36mm by 43mm, lug to lug, 11.5mm on the thickness and 19mm on the lugs, So go check this one out on the website today. From there, we're going to go over to the Omega Speedmaster, first Omega in space. This is the first one of these that have come across my desk to be sold. I've handled and experienced quite a few of these because I have quite a few customers who picked it up. And I have to say, they've done a really good job. So let's take a closer look here. You can see you've got that beautiful black dial, which has a ever so slight blue hue to it, making it look very vintage and almost faded. You've got the Alpha style hands and the loom on the indices, all of which has got that sort of faux patina to it. A dot over 90 bezel, these little attention to details are fantastic, and a heavily domed sapphire crystal as well. You can see Omega Speedmaster stated right there in the old script, as well as the old style logo. Again, huge fan of this. As we flip it over, no crown guard, so this is obviously reminiscent of the first Omega in space, a reference sometimes known as the Ed White, and it's the first one that went pre-professional. So no crown guards, old style logo, big pump pushers, and it even comes on a reintroduced flat link bracelet, which is screw links rather than the old folded links. Very nicely done with that big clasp to make it super easy, which actually has a push button to adjust on the fly as well. So adjustability of this is excellent. So I won't bore you with the reference. This one is always for Omega. It's an incredibly long reference, but this is powered by the manually wound Omega caliber 3861 behind that closed case back. Which has the first Omega in space written on it, October 3rd, 1962. Very cool. And this exact example is from October 2024 with its box and paperwork, so it comes with its full Omega warranty left as well. And you're looking at 39.7mm by 48mm lug to lug, 13.5mm on the thickness, and some of that is in that domed sapphire crystal, so keep that in mind, and 19mm on the lugs. So this is a really fantastic option, and you've just seen it there on my 7-inch wrist. It looks perfect. Whilst it does wear slightly smaller than the 42, like the standard professional model, it's not a huge difference on the wrist. So if you find the 42 perfect, you're going to find this even better, in my opinion. So go check it out on the website today. Next up is something really cool, a model I've not had before. This is the Zenfl Primero Chronomaster full open 42mm. So as you can see from that dial straight away, you've got an open work dial, not quite a skeleton dial because you can't see all the way through, but it is an open work dial where all of the mechanism, gears and cogs are pretty much exposed, and it's really well done. You've even got a date down there at 3 o'clock, which is done in red. And for those of you that know with the El Primeros, they have that little quirk where the first position when you pull out the crown is to set the time, and the final position is what you use to set the date. So do keep that in mind so you don't accidentally change the date when you're trying to change the time. It takes a second to get used to it, but there you go. You've got a really nice 42mm stainless steel case with polished sides, brushed tops, and a really nice chamfer throughout. The logo is actually etched onto the crystal itself, so there's nothing on the dial. Very nicely done. It makes that logo float above everything as it really does. The date is positioned, as I say, down at 6 o'clock, and again incorporated nicely. You can actually see the tips of the other dates around the edge of the dial if you look closely, because obviously it's skeletonized. Really cool. Zenith sign crown at 3 o'clock, pump pushers right there for the chronograph, and this is powered by, as we flip it over, you can see through the case back, a wonderful automatic Zenfl Primero caliber 400, a reference, a movement we are all very familiar with and has been used across so many references by them. It is an absolute workhorse, and it goes to show what the El Primero is capable of. This exact model is from September 2021 with its box and paperwork. It does come with its original alligator strap, which is unused, and it has been put on this very attractive Zenith perforated rubber strap with the deployants. So it just looks very cool with the modern, with summer here at the moment. This really sort of brings it into a modern watch that can be worn regularly during the summer. And then switch it over onto the leather, and you've got yourself a bit more of a dressy watch that's got something a little bit different with that open dial. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist, a 42mm by 50.5mm lug to lug. It's on the larger side, but it's not overly large at all. It's still very comfortable on wrist, and I would happily wear this watch. 13.5mm on the thickness and 21mm on the lug, so a little awkward, but again, you've got the rubber and the leather by Zenith right there, and they do have a bracelet which can probably still be acquired through Zenith if you inquire. But go check this one out on the website today. Now we're going to bring you on to a watch that I have seen many times. I've handled quite a few times, but I've never actually had one in for sale. That is the Laventure, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciations. There's going to be no accent in the way I do it. I apologize. This is the Laventure Transatlantic 2 GMT, and this is the steel and black 39mm model. You have a awesome design on this one. I'm a big fan of this brand and what they're doing. I think it's wonderful. You've got that sandwich style black dial, which has that slightly faded look to it, so it really does look like an older watch, and the sandwich refers to the fact the luminous materials underneath the dial or underneath the indices, kind of like how Panerai and some other brands do it, so it has that floating effect. And you've got faux patina there, which again only adds to the vintage allure of this watch. Date over there at 3 o'clock, very nice pronounced bold sword hands with a subtle green tipped GMT hand, sorry, it's steel tipped on the end, and you've got those subtle green throughout the dial as well, with the Transatlantic 2 and GMT on the dial. Then we come to the bezel, which is this sort of Bakelite looking thing, very cool with the lume inside. It really adds to the vintage charm and look of this watch. You can see the case shape, very, very nice with that sort of flanked edges, kind of reminiscent of like IWC Engineers and Patek Aquanauts and Engineers, but a bit more aggressive, I would say, in its design. And powering this watch behind a closed case back is the automatic Laventure Calibre 3, which I believe is a Celita base movement, but do check the website for more details there. Big, large screw-down crown at 3 o'clock, making it an absolute breeze to use. And it comes on its integrated brushed and polished bracelet, which is unworn. It's fully stickered. Now, the watch itself has been worn lightly on the rubber strap it also comes with. You can go see all that details on the website. But this one is only from April 2025, so it's this year, full box and paperwork, including the additional rubber strap, as I mentioned. Really easy to swap over with drilled lug holes in the case. And it also, the box is wonderful. It's like an old book. Very, very cool. So be sure to check that out. I won't bore you with the reference. It's just the same as the name is. April 2025, box and papers. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. You can see 39mm by 45.5mm lug to lug. It wears beautifully. Only 11mm on the thickness and 17mm on the integrated lug part. So again, sticking to the bracelet and the rubber strap it comes with, you've got two great options there. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to a Tudor that does not come up often, and it wasn't massively successful when it first released. So I think the production numbers on this are actually quite low in comparison to some other models we know, and that is the Tudor North Flag. So this was the first model that ever featured an in-house movement for Tudor. A lot of people don't realise that, and this model is from circa 2021 with its box and paperwork, reference 91210N. And as we flip it over, you can see the exhibition case back right there, showcasing the kind of movement we're all familiar with now from Tudor, but at the time it was quite a shock really to have, you know, not a very high polished or highly refined and finished movement, but quite industrial, but that was the whole point really, but still a very nice movement nonetheless, and that is an automatic Tudor caliber MT5612. And that brings us back to the dial, where you can see you've got this lovely matte black dial, big bold indices, bright yellow on the second hand. You have a power reserve tucked away over there at 9 o'clock with a date over at 3 o'clock. Really great design with the integrated bracelet, kind of ahead of its time when it first came out as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is a model they reintroduce at some point. So you have an integrated 3-link bracelet, as you can see, signed screw down crown at 3 o'clock. And as you flip it over, you have that exhibition case back we spoke about just then as well. The dimensions of this one are fantastic on the wrist. You can see it here on my 7-inch wrist, 40mm by 49.5mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 12mm on the integrated bracelet, flanking out as you can see. So this is a great opportunity, in my opinion, to pick up one of these North Flags, because these are going to become a collectible watch eventually. Obviously they're collectible amongst the community already, but I think in the future people are going to really want these watches, and the prices of these, I'm asking just under $2.5 grand for this as a box and papers 2021 example. I think these are definitely going to do well in the future as more people realise how important this is to the Tudor lineup, and it's not just another black bay. So go check this one out on the website today. Now before we get on to the Fizz and other watches, let's go over to some vintage, and I am listening to you all. I know a lot of you want more vintage and I'm working on it. There's some really great vintage stuff coming up in the pipeline. The only trouble I have with vintage is it takes longer to prepare than it does modern watches. A lot of vintage needs servicing. For example, I think I probably have 15 to 20 watches with other watchmakers around the country in for service that are vintage, and that's a constant turnover of watches. So there's always some in the works, it's just they take a bit longer. and I often sell a lot of vintage watches before they ever make it to the website. So I have started to try and keep a few back without sharing them, just so we can get a few more on the website for those of you that don't use the social media or aren't in the broadcast list. So I'm trying my best, guys, do bear with me. But anyway, this is the 1962 IWC date Calatraa Automatic, a really, really wonderful example, one I've been excited to bring to you all. You've got that slight speckling that happens on the dial with these models as they get a bit older, so really, really lovely, and you've got that wonderful sort of creamy loom around the outside and in the sword hands. Date over there at 3 o'clock and the long IWC logo, which I'm a big fan of. You can see as we flip it around, you've got the crown at 3 o'clock with the iconic fish logo, and the case is super sharp and crisp on this example. This is one I'm surprised hasn't sold before it made it to the website. As we flip it over, you've got a snap-on case back right there, and beating away inside this watch is actually the automatic IWC Caliber 38531, which is a movement used across the board and lots of references, including the original engineer, so it's quite a popular movement. And as I say, this one dates to circa 1962, and it is a super solid example for that age. It is a reference 1620671, and it is paired on a very nice, in my opinion, watch gecko strap. These are actually handmade in Belgium. Suits it down to the T. So yeah, if you're after a vintage IWC or vintage dress watch, this is definitely one to consider. It's been worked on by a watchmaker, running beautifully and ready to go. Obviously no box and paperwork on this one. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist, 35mm by 42.5mm lug to lug, so really great vintage proportions. 11mm on the thickness and 18mm on the lug, so you can swap out the straps as you please. But go check this one out on the website today and pick yourself up a bargain, in my opinion, for a beautiful IWC. Okay, here we go on to an Omega Seamaster. This is an automatic model with the waffle dial, and it is gold capped, so this is a great opportunity for someone to pick up a lovely vintage Seamaster that has the gold look without the gold price tag. So right here, this is the 34mm model. As I say, waffle dial right there, which is done in two different colours. So you've got the inner circle and the outer circle. Inner circle is a more goldeny colour, outer circle a more white eggshell, both of which have patinaed, so they've got some speckling there, some age. It looks fantastic in my opinion. Classic sword hands, indices around the outside with an Arabic 12, and then we come on to the button crown, which is that faceted crown we see on these models, and really nice stubby lugs, again as we expect on these models, and the gold cap is nice and thick and in very good condition overall considering its age. As we flip it over, you'll see a snap-on case back with an engraving dating to 1958, and the watch actually dates to 1954. So this was likely given as a gift later on down the line, or maybe even purchased as pre-owned at that point. You've got to think how many watches I have come in that are 3 years old. No doubt that would have been the case back then as well. So this is a reference 2846-3SC, inside an automatic Omega Caliber 501. As I say, it dates to 1954 with a lovely engraving to 1958. So we can have these engravings taken out, but for me they're all part of their history, and this is a really beautifully done one with the script. I think the way it's done is beautiful, and that would have been done by hand as well. You can sort of tell with the imperfections, which are stunning in my opinion. So here it is on my 7-inch wrist. These 34mm by 42mm lug to lug Seamasters wear beautifully, and they wear bigger than the 34 because of the stubby lugs. In my opinion, it's only 10.5mm thick and 18mm on the lugs. We have got it paired on a nice watch gecko strap, which is quick release with a reproduction Omega buckle, so it's not an original Omega buckle, but it's nice to have on there, and you can take it off if you're not that bothered by it as well. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to Fizz, and we have 3 on the table. We're actually going to start with the most affordable of the 3, but the one I think a lot of you are going to be very interested in. This is the Fizz and Studio Underdog, the Gimlet limited edition in 38mm. As a lot of you will know, this was a 200-piece limited edition exclusive to the British Watchmakers Day, and you had to be there to get this watch, and the queue was going around the whole venue. It was incredible. They sold out the first 100 in the first section of the show, because they split 100 for the first section, 100 for the second section to keep it fair, and they all sold out unsurprisingly, and these have been trading over retail consistently since then, and it's good to see that a lot of people bought them to enjoy them. There was a few flippers where they bought it, kept it brand new and sold it on, but for the most part everyone every one I've had, and I've had a couple now, have all been very lightly used. You know, they've been worn in rotation, as you can say, and this is no different. It's a great example and ready to be picked up at a great price considering the market. So inside this is a manually wound Sellita SW210-1, and this is from March 2025, and as you can see, it is a Fizz Brunswick in the 38mm case, which is pretty much all brushed other than the polish on the lugs, which contrasts really nicely. And then you have that iconic, in my opinion, iconic luminous Studio Underdog dial. So this is a really great collaboration between the two, with both brands proudly stated there on the dial. The dial is fully luminous with like a glass top that the indices are printed on. You've got the two visible screws on the dial like the Series 2 of Studio Underdog, and it comes paired on a very attractive and very comfortable quick release strap tailor strap as well. So again, we're merging almost three brands here. You've got the strap tailor, another British brand who makes straps, Fizz and Studio Underdog, and it was for the British Watchmakers Day. So a really great proud thing for the British Watchmaking Association and British watchmaking overall. As I say, March 2025, box and papers with this one, and here it is on my 7-inch wrist at 38mm by 43mm lug to lug, 11.5mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. So a great option for anyone out there, and these look fantastic on mesh bracelets as well, so keep that in mind, but go check it out on the website today. And now we have two Fizz Brunswick jump hours, and we're going to start with the one that started it all for the Fizz Brunswick jump hour. This is the Christopher Ward Alliance 01 jump hour with the red dial. Still my favourite of the bunch. I think they're all fantastic, but this being the original and that deep red is lovely. And again, with the Fizz and Christopher Ward collaboration, which they all are still made by Christopher Ward, or at least the movements are, this one was a full collaboration with the two brands for, again, the British Watchmakers Day, just like the Gimlet was. So it's great to see that kind of collaboration. But then we come to the dial. So you've got that beautiful deep red dial with the two sections. You've got the inner minutes and the outer hours. As we flick it around, the time changes over on the hour dot, and it snaps to the next hour. Really, really wonderfully done. And I'm a big fan of jump hours in this kind of display. And you've got a lot of empty space with the red, which again, I really, really like. Concentric circles on the inside, big polished bezel, brushed and polished throughout with a nice large onion crown to make usability super easy. And these were limited to, I believe, 50 watches total. And this is actually number 3 of the bunch, a reference BS240.500. And inside is a modified Sellita SW200 by Christopher Ward, known as the JJ01 module, sorry. And this one's from January 2023 with its box and paperwork paired on its original red strap with its signed buckle as well. So here it is on my 7-inch wrist. You can see 40.5mm by 47mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. And because of the cushion case, it wears very comfortably. So go check this one out on the website today. And here we go on to the other Fizz jump hour. This is the Fizz Brunswick 40.5mm jump hour, and this is the Raven Black. So a really, really wonderful deep black color. Again, you've got that same sort of styling, concentric circles on the inside with the minutes stated around there with a very nice sword hand, and the hours in that display up at 12 o'clock, which jump over on the hour. Very nicely done. Fizz at 12, England at 6, and that is it. Really beautifully simple and elegant, with a polished bezel, brushed and polished throughout, onion crown at 3 o'clock, which is signed. And as we flip it over, you've got a spun case back, powering the watch is the automatic Christopher Ward JJ01 jump hour module, and this one's from April 2025 with its box and paperwork paired on a very nice black leather strap, which is handmade in Belgium, as it says, with a modern signed Fizz buckle, which is very attractive as well. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. It is 40.5mm by 47mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to a really wonderful Omega Seamaster example. This is the 36mm quartz Seamaster with the wave dial, pre-ceramic, so you've got the nice aluminium bezel, and as you can see right there, blue wave dial, tritium very nicely browning around the outside, and tritium in the loom pip as well, and the bezel's got that slight fade to it as well as the dial. So it's not that deep vibrant blue, it's that more softer blue, which I think just looks beautiful. At 36mm, these are fantastic because you still have that iconic Seamaster shape and twisted lugs. Signed screw down crown at 3 o'clock and helium escape valve at 10 o'clock. That's to allow helium out as you are diving, because these were true tools. And this watch dates to December 1995 with its box and paper. paperwork, and it's a reference 2561.80. Comes on its Seamaster bracelet, which has all of its links. These are push pin links with a push button folding clasp. Sorry, I'm getting all my words mixed up there. You've got a solid screw down case back, again with the wave design and Seamaster proudly stated. Inside it's powered by the Quartz Omega caliber 1538. And as I say, this one comes with its box and paperwork and can be picked up for under £2,000. I think these are fantastic if you're in the market for something like this. So here it is on my 7-inch wrist. Don't be put off by the size. It wears beautifully at 36mm by 42.5mm lug to lug. Only 10.5mm on the thickness and 18mm on the lug, so you can easily swap this out for leathers and NATOs. It looks brilliant actually on a blue suede. I think especially with the more faded bezel, it just contrasts really nicely. So go check this one out today and pick yourself up a really wonderful example. Probably the best example of this reference I've had yet. So go check it out today. And last but by no means least is the Kuo. I butcher the pronunciation every time. I'm just going to say it 13 different ways, so then hopefully one of them is right. But this is the Sombrero 90-011 salmon linen dial compressor in 38mm. As you can see, looking at that dial, you've got a linen salmon dial, very nicely done with the outer rotating inner bezel, I should say, sorry, done in black with that sort of faux patina, which matches the colour of the patina, the loom on the dial as well. Sword hands, central seconds. You've got a crown down at 2 o'clock. Compressor refers to the compressor style with the 2 crowns, and it gets tied to the deeper you go. That's what it was intended as, but compressors become more known as the 2 crown system for a dive watch. So screw down crown at 4 o'clock is what operates setting the time and winding the watch, and the screw down crown at 2 o'clock is what allows you to move the inner rotating bezel. You have to make sure you sort of disengage it as you screw the crown back in for the bezel, otherwise it stays engaged. You sort of wind backwards and then push down to wind forwards to catch the thread, if that makes sense. So yeah, really, really nicely done. Great case and format. I've been very impressed with this brand. I've had quite a few come through now, and the build quality for the price is incredible, and the sort of designs you get are also fantastic. This comes paired on its original Jubilee bracelet with a big push button clasp, which actually has a quick adjust as well to make quick adjust on the clasp itself to make adjustment really easy on the fly. Some major brands don't even have this, never mind this brand at this price point. Inside is an automatic Miyota caliber 9039 behind that closed case back, which is screw down, and it's from 2025 with its box and paperwork. I believe it also comes with an additional strap, so be sure to check that out in the description listing in the photos. But either way, the bracelet is fantastic on the wrist. And here it is on the wrist, 38mm by 45.5mm lug to lug. So nice and compact. It's only 12.5mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. I believe these retail for somewhere like £700-800, maybe more. This just under £600 pre-owned. I think is a great value. And these are very popular still. They're often getting sold out on their website. So snap it up today whilst you can. So there you have it, the 12 incredible watches that have landed this week. I look forward as always to hearing what's your favourite, so do let me know down in the comment section. I think for me, I'm going to struggle to pick one as always. I really love the IWC, I think it's fantastic. The vintage Omega Seamaster is also brilliant. I love the Fizz gimlet, I think it's really fun for the money. I've been very impressed with a lot of them. So the Laventure, is that how you pronounce it? Fantastic. Really great for the money. North Flag is a classic. Yeah, I look forward to reading what your favourite is. I can never make a choice. And if you did attend the event yesterday, the 10 years, thank you very much. And be sure to leave a comment of what you thought of the day. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It was good fun, and hopefully you ate lots of pizza and drank lots of beer and wine or whatever it might be and had a good time. So thank you all very much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. And for those of you that couldn't make it to the event, I hope you still had a wonderful day, and it may be something depending on how it goes. And obviously it's not happened yet, so I don't know. I assume it's going to go great, but if it goes really well and there's a demand for more, it might be something we do every so often. You know, every couple of months we host a little event. It could be fun. You know, I think we're not really got much going on in London anymore with like red bars and things. It all seems to have gone quite quiet. Time for a Pint, I believe, is stopping soon as well. So there's not a huge amount. So if we can, you know, jump in with that, and again, it's not a sales focused event. We're not going to have stock on display or be trying to sell you things. There's not going to be brands there with their watches on display, nothing like that. So it's going to be just a fun get together, old school red bar at a bar with drinks, chatting about watches. So yeah, it's going to be good fun. All right, we'll see you again next Saturday. There's a great selection in next Saturday's drop, as always, including vintage, modern. Yeah, there's a bit of everything. So we'll see you all again then. Take care. Bye-bye.